All right. So today I want to talk about more of game communities and just toxic communities in general now because lately Fortnite has been even becoming more of a toxic community. Even, I mean, they were a little bit, but they're becoming worse because of this whole OG thing where there's half the size talk about old battle passes should come back. The other ones say they shouldn't. Well, at this point, that would be fine if they talk about like, oh, I don't think battle passes should come back, or the other ones say, oh, they should. That'd be one thing. But the problem is, after this OG came back, it was fine so far because you got your remix skins. It was Renegade Raider and the and then the community just went all out into a huge battle that became kind of ugly because they released the original Renegade Raider and all that, and then the community just became toxic over time. Like the arguments were bad and all that, and it was like, okay, everyone needs to calm down. We all thought Call of Duty's community was bad, but it seems like yes, they're toxic of how they play, but again, we're all gamers. It happens. We're toxic and all that. But Fortnite's being ridiculous with their community's being really toxic, honestly. But when it comes, and then the weird thing when we talk about the Call of Duty community, yes, they're known for being toxic and all that, but they started they're still toxic, but they're being more together now, and they're standing up for the game. They're against the game company because before they were all like, oh, this game's great, and then the other people were like, this game is trash, and then they were like clashing at each other. But then they actually came together that they were talking that the game was kind of not good, and then they were talking about there needs to be changes and all that. But the only thing I say these, like Fortnite's communities becoming toxic, Call of Duty's still toxic, Dead by Daylight's community's toxic, it's because the worst thing is it's literally you try to say something. If you say something and then someone doesn't like, I mean that's all game communities now, but these ones stand out the most. But you say like an opinion and then all these people are just lashed at you, and it's like, guys, I'm just saying, or it's just an opinion. For example, lately when leakers leak stuff, and you know leakers are not always going to be right. Some will be wrong, some will be right, because again, they just find leaks, but who knows if they're right or wrong. They clearly say it's a leak, and it says it might be not true, and they're giving you a reason saying just take a grain of salt, so it might not be true. But then if they're wrong, the community just lashes at them like, you said this, it should have happened. No, leakers leak stuff, but it's not always true. Sometimes it's false, so you can't really blame them for that. And then, for example, like, and then you jump into the Dead by Daylight community. Oh my god, when in survivors and killers get in the same message or in an argument, oh man, it goes down. Honestly, games are supposed to be more fun. I understand people could voice opinions about like, oh, this killer's over, let's just say overpowered. I'm not saying the whole killer's overpowered, just needs to be nerfed. And then if a survivor says it has to be nerfed, sometimes the killer just goes straight, and it's not like saying I disagree with you and then explain. It just says you're wrong, and it gets so nasty to the survivor. But then the opposite, where survivors get nasty to the killers, and then it keeps going back and forth, and more people join in, it gets nasty, and it's like, guys, it's a game. It's one thing if you say you disagree with each other that it should not be buff or nerf, but don't go crazy and take, because lately these game communities, is pretty much a lot of game communities. The Call of Duty community, Fortnite's community, Dead by Daylight, Marvel, all different game communities. It's just a game, and then they literally just take it out of the game. It's like, think about this: if it's like Dead by Daylight's chat at Endgame. They talk so much salt and toxic. It's like the game's over. Just say GG or don't say anything and just move on to the next match. But no, they sit there for 10 minutes going all out on them. But I mean, there is still some good in the game community where there's feedback and all that. But lately, if someone doesn't like something, so many people jump aboard of it and then they just go all out. I mean, for example, like I think it was, I can't remember. Oh, it was on the Call of Duty community. They wanted a certain thing in the game, so they yelled at the devs and everything. And the devs finally added it. And the one time the devs said that you were probably not going to like this, but they kept complaining and saying, put it in there. So the devs were like, okay, they put it in there. And then the players all hated it, and then just all the players all hated it, and then went out on the devs on that one. And that was the one time the devs listened to the community, but the players didn't like it, and literally went out on them. And it's like, you guys wanted that in the game, so why are you complaining at them? So that was removed, but anyway. And then I want to throw one more gaming community into this. VTubers. And I'm not going to say they're all aggressive, because again, like, we're all gamers or react and all that, so we'll all be toxic and all that sometimes. But I seen some of the community in the VTuber things, and they are ruthless. I mean, like I said, not all of them are ruthless. A lot of them are actually nice and really cool to watch. But some of them are so ruthless. Because I noticed in like other game communities and communities, yes, we all go in rage, but there is sometimes where if evidence are proven, people start dropping. I mean, people are still mad and they'll still argue about it, but they'll be like, oh, okay, so here's the evidence, and they start to slow down. Sometimes I see in the VTuber community, there's evidence, they just lash at the person. They're like, they don't care. Like, I'm not gonna say what type of who the VTubers are. For example, one literally gave evidence on their side, and literally the evidence was literally true. It literally stated true facts, but the community just full out ignored it and literally went after the person. It's like, guys, the evidence are there. If you disagree with it, just leave. Don't make the situation any worse because you're making the community aggressive. And like I said, it's not just the VTuber community. They're more aggressive somewhere. I never seen them. I thought the Call of Duty community was aggressive. They are aggressive too. So overall, like I said, a lot of them are not aggressive, because a lot of them I seen some of their content and all their responses, and they're fine. They're actually pretty cool, and I know a lot of the VTubers are talented, because especially all their models that I've seen the process of making them. Like, there's videos on seeing the process, and I mean, they're talented of drawing their like sketch, and then doing all the things, the designing of it, and making the bones right, like the bones in the avatar correct so it moves right and all that. I mean, that takes a lot of work, and I understand that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna say that's pretty cool, but the way some of them just act are really, really bad. And the only reason I find their community not as nice is because, again, a lot of them, again, are nice, but some of them, not saying name, literally stated, when it comes to solutions, they do not They do not solve them usually. I mean, a lot of them solve them, obviously, and then they go back to streaming games and all that, reacting. Cool, but like one, literally, I'm just gonna say they just make it because I'm not gonna say who, but literally did something which they shouldn't broke. They broke. All they had to do was if you didn't know how to make a VTuber, you could just go to a site and you're allowed to use the model in like streaming, content creating, and if you made money from your videos and all that, that was like fine. But there was a guideline where it said you had to, if you wanted to do merch or something, you had to go to the company, and I think the artist, I think it's both, or just one, I think it's both for legal reasons, and then you talk to them to see if they're okay with it, and then you use the model for merch. But that's where I'm skeptical of VTubers, just because that one incident was like, they didn't, and then that went downhill. But like I said, do I still care if the VTuber community is a little aggressive, and if I stick with it? No, I do not really stick with that community. Like, I'll watch VTubers, but when it comes to their community, I stay out of that community, and I also stay out of the Call of Duty community. Fortnite, that's okay, but overall, I just wish the communities are less aggressive, which I mean they kind of are, but them just not taking the time to listen to each other, and when there's actual evidence, a point that it's like, oh, there's the evidence, so I should, if I don't agree with them, I should understand their side. Excuse me. But still, they just go all out, and it's like, guys, really? So overall, I would say most of the game companies that are community that is in danger would be the Call of Duty one, VTubers, Dead by Daylight, Fortnite, Overwatch. Those communities are probably the strongest that are having issues right now of being chill and being a little toxic and aggressive. But overall, end of the day, that's what if you choose, you go in that community. But if you don't, stay away. We're all just trying to have fun, and yeah. Overall, I would recommend, if you still want to do like Call of Duty and play these games, just play them. But if you don't want to hear like the arguments or the aggressive, just stay away from the community, or just follow the main devs or the games, and just read their thing, like says like update on Tuesday. But if you see any other comments and you just don't want to deal with it, just don't read them, and read the game news and move on. But overall, even if the communities are aggressive and toxic, or even if they're not, and you still don't want to deal with them, just do their own thing. So if you still want to be a VTuber, or you want to do content, or you just want to play the game, go ahead, play the game, do a VTuber or anything you want. Just don't follow the community if you just don't want to deal with it. Like, for example, if you want to be a VTuber, go for it. And then if you don't want to deal with any of the drama, just don't read the comments that, well, if you read the comments, and if they're, and this is just in general, if content creating or anything, if any of the things seem like aggressive and you just don't want to deal with it, the best thing to do is you either delete them or just don't answer them, because usually people that do that just wants to bug you, and if that's the way they do it, don't let them do it that way. Just don't respond to their comment or delete it, because like out there you have a bunch of people that will still follow you, be in your community. There's always going to be supporters. There are always going to be people that don't like you. It could be even if you're a content creator, part of a community or anything, or you're just a normal, just a person that just wants to play games, not a content creator. Just don't listen to them. And again, if the community goes too crazy with being aggressive and toxic, and you don't want to be part of it, just do your own thing in the community, and then yeah. So whatever you do is your choice, and so go out there and enjoy the games, enjoy being a VTuber, content creator, anything. Ignore people with their mean comments. Don't respond to them. You don't respond to their negativity or delete them, and then just move on, because you'll always have supporters watching your content, or you'll always have support like friends, family, if you don't do content. And overall, just in general, stay happy out there. Until next time, peace out.